Hi, and welcome to the 2-Minute Warning. I am your host, Perry Busby. 2-Minute Warning is brought to you by the Westside Gazette, one of South Florida's oldest African-American owned newspaper that has been serving the Broward County and the Tri-County South Florida area for 51 years. And joining me is my co-host, the publisher of the Westside Gazette, Mr. Bobby Henry. Bobby, how you doing, my brother?
You know, Perry, I love it when you ask me that. Man, I'm terrific and getting better. And now, I like to be upfront and perfectly honest. Both you and me have been running ragged. I mean, ragged as a mango seed. But we're here tonight, and we're gonna do what we do, and that's to inform and educate and present and all that good stuff. So I'm well.
That's
Perry.
right.
And you?
Oh man, I am blessed and just enjoying coming into the summer season. I know school has ended here in Broward, and that always brings about a new challenge. And so, man, I'm just looking forward to the summer, looking forward to more conversations that we've got. We've got a lot of things happening tonight. First of all, is the January 6th hearings that start tonight, and that's going on even now as we speak. So we've got a lot of things to keep us busy in the news, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, cool. I was thinking something. What was I getting ready to say? Okay, I know when I spring something on you and Miss Ariel at the last minute, it causes you guys to blink your eye. There are a lot of things we can talk about, with gun violence and all that. But we're gonna deal with some campaign issues and some campaign platforms or some political proponents vying for seats. So and tonight we're going to continue, and we're going to talk about two district seats, district Board of Education here in Broward County. So earlier I was talking to a brother, and he's in Ohio. So we were having a conversation just to introduce ourselves. But while we were talking, the brother was hitting on some key points. And I said, hold up, wait a minute, Doc. I said, can you make yourself available at 8 o'clock to set the stage for our program tonight as it pertains to our school board candidates? And he agreed to do this. Now, this happened about, to be fair, 20 minutes ago. So he agreed to join us, and he's going to join us. And Perry, if you don't mind, before we go, is there anything that you will bring up? I know you mentioned the hearings. Is there anything else?
No, let's get right into what we're discussing.
Okay, good. Okay, that being said, if we can, Dr. Womack.
Good afternoon, Brother Henry. How are you?
I'm terrific and getting better, brother. As I was sharing with the audience, I didn't go into your background or anything about your resume. Can you just give us a little bit about who you are and what you do, and set the stage for us tonight for this program?
Thank you. Well, my name is Dr. Sandy Dennis Womack Jr. I'm a 30-year public educator, urban education specifically. I'm always working in city schools. Right now, I am the area superintendent of the Columbus City Schools for Region 3. We have about 50,000 students in Columbus, whereas Broward County has about 250,000 students. We operate on about a $2.2 billion budget. I'm looking at Broward County. They operate on about a $4.9 billion budget. And as I was talking to you, Brother Henry, one of the things that came to mind when you're talking to me about the school board members is this. I'm also an author and a national speaker. But, enough about me, just talking about what you're saying in education. One of the things that we were able to hit on is education is a multi-billion-dollar business. In most cities throughout the United States of America, your educational system is not only required, they become one of the largest employers of any city or any entity in that city. For example, Broward County has over 30,000 employees in the public school system. I'm here in Columbus, Ohio. Columbus City Schools has over 10,000 employees. our superintendent's budget is almost as large as the mayor's budget. And in some cases, when we get federal funding, additional federal funding, our budget is larger than the city budget. And so when you talk about school boards and the responsibilities, school boards actually operate and are responsible for dispersing millions and billions of dollars. So not quite often when people get on school boards, and no disrespect intended to the candidates here, I looked at the diversity of Broward County, and then I also looked at the school board, looked a little bit different. But the reality of the situation is that when you find yourself on the school board, no matter where you at, you have almost more power than most state legislators because you are operating and facilitating funds that in many cases are over $1 million to $1 billion, whether that be operations, whether that be purchase services, whether that be salaries and benefits. And so the school board positions provide a tremendous amount of power. So it's important that you know the platforms of the people that are getting on. One thing I learned a long time ago, and I've been an advocate for African-American studies for years, is that education and income go hand in hand in the United States, not by accident, but by design. So to deny yourself access to education is also to deny yourself access to income. So your candidates who are running for school boards, while I have never met them, will be in a position or will be sitting at a table where they will have the opportunity to allocate over $4.5 billion in resources within Broward County.
Dr. Womack, now I'm not saying, but and I don't know if we have a picture of our current school board and what it looks like. I don't know if we have that picture. If we do, Ms. Henry, if you can put it up, that would be great. But I want to now, what does this picture speak to in terms of a school district that has a 42% African American population? What does this picture say, if anything, you think?
Well, it definitely looks like it is, seeing is believing, folks, and show beats tell. So if you have 2 out of 5 students in your district are either Black or brown, and you have a school board that is not representative of that, you also say, if you're not sitting at the table, you often end up on the plate. And so I think it's very important that you start to make sure that you have a diverse school board because of the amount of money that will be allocated to resources, the generational changes that will be available for the families, the people who do contracting with food services, the people who do contracting with facilities, the people who do ground and maintenance, let alone the teaching staff. And I think it's important that you have representation that represents the student body. I think that's critical because your school board, no disrespect intended to Broward County or Fort Lauderdale for that matter, but the school board does not look like the student demographics that I was able to see on the great publications and information that you sent out in regards to what Broward County is standing for in their political or their strategic plan.
Okay, I'm going on record for saying this. I did not have this conversation with Dr. Womack, not at all. We were talking about issues in that. And so this is a perspective from the outside that I've been preaching for the last 5 weeks. And there's something that has to be done about this. Now, Dr. Womack, you talked about the school board and its responsibilities. What encouragement would you give any candidate who's vying for this position?
I would say the first thing I got is from a guy by the name of Mr. Hinojosa, who is the superintendent of the Dallas Independent School District. I've had opportunity to speak all over the nation, but Hinojosa said something that was right on point. One of the first things that Mr. Hinojosa said is, what is the problem that you are trying to solve? What does your data support or suggest are the major issues that are impacting Broward County Public Schools, and what entity do you want to resolve, or what is the problem that you are trying to solve, and how will you build capacity in order to support whatever that issue is? Most people don't get on the school board just to get on the school board. They recognize the financial impact and the implications and the amount of power that comes along with that. So the first thing I would ask them is, what is the problem that you are trying to solve? Or what is your skin in the game? What made you decide in order to make this change? Is it because of the graduation rate? I doubt it. Broward County looks like it has a 97.1% graduation rate, which is outstanding across the United States of America. Is it because of inequity? Is it injustice? Is it the situation in regards to safe schools? So what is the problem that you are trying to solve? And how will you build the capacity within your community in order to get the people behind you to support that?
Okay, very good. Dr. Womack, we certainly appreciate you. Now we're going to bring you back so we can spend some more time on another show. But I would ask now I looked at your resume and the association and the bodies that you bump into on while you're doing your speaking engagements across the country. There are a few of you. So maybe we can, if with your help, get some of the brothers and sisters, and we're open to everybody. But the problem we're having here in Broward County is the need for an equal representation of Black folk at a level where the students can see them. So with your help, if we can put together a panel for discussion, I mean, we certainly would appreciate that.
Listen, not a problem, Brother Henry and Brother Busby. I would love to do that. We did all of this on impromptu, but I think the Lord works in mysterious ways. I just happen to be sitting outside relaxing. That's very rarely for me. I'm normally on my motorcycle somewhere, man, or reading a book. But I thank you for this opportunity. And yeah, let's definitely get together. Look forward to hearing how things go with your candidates. Hope that everything goes well. And thank you for having me on. And let's plan this work and work that plan.
Absolutely. Again, Dr. Womack, thank you very much. God bless you, bro. Enjoy Ohio. Never mind.
Thank you very much. Yeah, if you can call us a mistake on the lake other there, Brother Henry. Brother Busby, y'all take care and thank you for this opportunity. Like I said, y'all got a $4.5 billion operating budget, and that money has to be allocated to a variety of different sources. And looking at the representation that you have on that board, that's I don't see a lot of diversity there, brother. And when we're not at the table, as I said before, we often end up on the plate. It's a lot of money to be allocated with nobody on there that represents a large minority population. So y'all take care, brothers.
Thank you very much, and God bless.
God bless.
Okay. All right, Kerry. So you think we're ready for this evening?
Oh yeah, great conversation. Yeah, and that's often the subject that never really gets talked about. With being on some of these boards is really the amount of power and money that gets allocated. Usually when we have talk about school board, but forget it. Let's bring on our candidates. Forget that. Let's talk about our candidates.
But you said something. Follow the dollars. You said something. When we do that,
you have to follow the dollars. But usually we end up voting on candidates for school board based on education issues. Those education issues have dollars connected to it. But again, I'm glad we have these candidates. And again, I think this is a continuation from the conversation we had last week with our candidates, and had a great conversation with Ruth Carter Lynch, and I forgot, who's running for county commissioner, Demetria, who's running who's running for county commissioner. So that was a great time we had last week. Looking forward to the conversation this week. Let's bring on our first guest. Both of our guests tonight are vying for positions on Broward School Board, although they aren't running for the same position. They are running in different districts. But our first candidate is John Moreno, and John Moreno-Escobar. Don't want to get that wrong. But John is a recent resident of Sunrise. He's been here since 2016. He's heavily involved in the Broward School District as a parent and as a member of the PTA. And he is also the executive director of the YV Foundation, a nonprofit organization that provides educational programs for middle and high school students. The organization focuses on soft skills, hard skills, and high-tech career opportunities. And that's just a brief synopsis of his background. Let's bring on John Moreno-Escobar, and he can tell us more. How you doing, John? Pleased to meet you.
Hey, thank you for the opportunity. Doing great. I love we having this conversation tonight. As you mentioned, have been in South Florida for almost 7 years, moved from New York where I spent almost 16 years there. Originally from South America in Colombia, so I'm bilingual, I speak Spanish and English. I'm an immigrant parent. I have been involved for now quite a while, but I got really involved during the pandemic when I rallied parents, community leaders, politicians, school board members to demand actions for what was happening during the pandemic. And I will talk more about that, but excited to be here tonight and talk about the platform and how we could definitely add some value with my candidacy and my expertise, not just on the educational aspect as Mr. Besby was mentioning, but also the education plus the business acumen that you need to have in order to be in a board like this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very good. Okay. Our next guest is no stranger to the program, even though he's the youngest. A young, articulate, and how should I say, the vibrant person. So let's bring on Mr. Raymond Adderly the third.
Hey, how we doing?
We're good, Raymond. How you doing, man?
What did you say? I'm doing terrific and getting better.
Yes, sir. You learn fast. That's what I like about you, man. You learn fast. Well, give us just a little bit. Give us a little background, Raymond, and we're gonna get into the conversation.
Sure. So my name is Raymond Adderly the third. Yes, the third Raymond. And I'm running for Broward County School Board Seat 8, which is a countywide seat at large. So no matter where you live in Broward County, unlike John, who's running in District 6, you can vote for me. But here's two simple reasons why you should vote for me. Dr. Womack was just talking about the lack of diversity on our school board. I come from a very diverse background, with a grandfather born in Eleuthera, Bahamas, and a grandma born in Matanzas, Cuba. And so being both of Cuban and Bahamian descent, as well as being an African-American male here in the United States, I think I'm well poised to speak on the issues that are plaguing our district. But even taking that a step further, I know that you said I'm the youngest candidate, and I am. And I wear that as a badge of honor for several reasons, but I'm sure as the conversation goes along, we'll get into that. But I just graduated high school on Tuesday, June 7th. Thank you. And so with graduating high school, I think that there is no one that is more poised, more uniquely positioned to speak about the issues that are happening within our schools on the day-to-day basis. And I say that not just as a student coming out of high school, but I say that as a student that served as the student advisor to the school board, where my job was to attend each school board meeting and represent the 269,000 students in Broward County on all the items, including those of procurement, policy, district change, contracts, and widespread contracts at that. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. And let me tell you, I couldn't be more excited for my candidacy. I couldn't be more excited for John's candidacy. It's really time to shake up the culture of our district, and I think that we can do that.
Okay. Wow, man. This has to be the first. And both of, I know I'm excited. First of all, because of the diversity. You're talking about touching a school board population. I think we have, I don't know how many different nationalities we have in our school system. I think last count was 19.
It's hard to count, but there are so many in Broward.
Okay. John?
Yeah, no, I was about to say that, I had the privilege to work at the school district and for a short time. And I was able to see not just the diversity in our student body, but also the diversity in our central office. I think that is something that we need to also look into. Definitely what you were mentioning at the beginning, Henry, was the lack of diversity in our school board as the school board members, right? We have a big issue now that we know Reverend Oswood stepped down and now it's a senator. Now we don't have representation besides Patricia Good as one Latina representing a large district that is not large Latino populated. My district is largely populated, is District 6. not just Hispanic populated, Latino populated, but also African American and Caribbean populated. And I'm the only minority candidate for District 6. I am the only Latino. I'm the only person of color. I'm the only parent who has a student in the system. And, that's what makes it a little different. But definitely the diversity, the importance of diversity, it's something that we need to tackle in the next election cycle, for sure.
We're talking about diversity, and we're championing diversity, but yet and still our governor is trying to stifle that. As a school board member, how do you handle that? How do you walk that? How do you do that? How do you bring the diversity when you can't say, don't say gay, or when you're dealing with CTR, you can't tell the truth? Raymond, how do you deal with that?
I think that's a fantastic question. And there's a lot of things that I can say about the governor, but I won't. But I think the reality is I always tell people that I'm one candidate that does not sell false stories. I don't sell platitudes. I sell pragmatism. And the fact of the matter is we are between a rock and a hard place. Because at the end of the day, what we must remember as technically, statutorily, as school board members, it is our jobs not to create new curriculum, not to curate curriculum, or not to change curriculum, but follow curriculum that's given to us by the State Board of Education. And so, we here are a local school district, and it makes our jobs difficult to celebrate diversity. It makes our jobs difficult to talk about those tough conversations when we have a governor and a State Board of Education that is literally trying to erase it. But what can I do as an individual or as a school board member to try to limit that effect? I will tell you this. I will be the strongest fighter that Broward County has ever seen when dealing and talking to Tallahassee. Because here in Broward County, we've got so much diverse population. And John just hinted on that. In me, you've got a full Caribbean American living in the United States. Both of my grandparents are from the Caribbean. How many people, how many students, how many teachers in this district have a similar story? In my high school alone, I know people from every single sphere of the globe, from Asia all the way to North America and around again. And so I think the end all be all issue here is, to the governor, what I'd say is this: we will not tolerate in Broward County hiding our heritage, making sure that we create curriculum that parents can opt out of, just as the status quo is now, as far as sexual education is concerned. In the 9th grade, when students take biology, that's when they are statutorily required to also learn about sex ed. But a biology teacher at the beginning of the year, and I remember this fondly, my 9th grade year, I had Mr. Sorrell. By the way, we were talking about diversity. Haitian American man, graduated from Blanche Ely High School and went to MIT. So when we're talking about diversity, I'm telling you the truth here. And so Mr. Sorrell, he gave us a pack at the beginning of the year that had parents, do you want your child to learn about sex education? Yes or no? And you can opt out of that. And so in the like fashion, I think that as school board members, we continue to do the same. We continue to push the needle in diversity, and we continue to push back against Tallahassee that's trying to erase that.
Hold on, and John, we've had Raymond on before. So now he can be that. So I mean, but trust us, what's your thoughts? How do you feel about a young Raymond? How do you feel about a young person coming into this, if we put that picture back up, this all white arena with them thoughts? How do you feel about that? How would you deal with it? How do you hook up with Raymond? John?
Well, we are great friends, by the way. We are. It happens that in the history of this race, I was running against Raymond for district at large. I suffered a brain injury and I dropped from my race. And after a year, I decided to run again. But since the day one, I could tell you this: I called Raymond. And I know Raymond remembered this. A common friend of ours connected us, and we had a conversation, and it was civil. It's like, hey, you're a great candidate. I'm a great candidate. After what happened to me in my health, with my health, I have mentioned to Raymond many times that he is prepared, that he has to make sure that people don't tell him nothing else different than you are great for this position. And I think that he brings something that is unique to the nation, not just to Broward, to the nation. Raymond is the youngest, but also Raymond is a smart, informed man around educational issues. So he and I will be a great combo. Might have some Spanish conversation, our meetings in the dais, but we will definitely relate into a lot of the issues. Talking about this that you just talked about, and Raymond just really explained thoroughly, it's at the bottom line. The only thing I will add to what Raymond said is we will protect, and I will protect our staff members, the school district, employees, teachers, and students of whatever that happens in Tallahassee that comes down to our district. We have to protect the people that work in our district. Dr. Womack was mentioning the large district that we are, 32,000 employees. We're the largest employer in the county. We have to protect these people. These people buy locally. These people travel locally. These people are part of our local economy. We're not just a small, a school district in the nation. We're the sixth largest school district in the nation. So we have to protect our LGBTQ plus community. We have to protect our Black, Latino, and Asian communities within our school district. And we have to be a voice, because what Raymond said is true. We are going to be at the dais listening to what Tallahassee is bringing us. And unfortunately, some of those things we cannot push back. And we have to just make sure that we protect them with whatever we could have, with our lawyers, with our counsel, try to figure out how we can protect the people who live every day their heart and soul, especially our teachers, in their daily jobs. And by the way, thank you to all the teachers that are watching this. You guys are heroes for our county.
Yeah.
We continue to talk about diversity, and so you just spoke about you and Raymond's relationship. Okay, so John, how will you, in your efforts to become a part of Broward County School Board that has had in the past not been conducive to doing business with people who look like the school, the school people themselves, the students and their parents. How do you propose to change that, John?
Well, I think first of all, it's when I have been in way too many boards, and sometimes you don't like people. You have to be there, sitting there with them, and you have to come into agreements. I think that now we're going to see a more dynamic and renewed board, and I think that's going to be positive. We're going to have different ideas and different perspectives of how to solve issues and how to move forward. And I think that diversity that we're talking, not just about race and ethnicity, but also about thoughts and upbringing, it's really important. And I think that's going to help us. But also, I feel that with the experience that I have for almost a decade of working in education, and again, being in boards and being and working with parents, teachers, students, and so forth, I think I bring in a specific talent that many of the people that are in my district race don't have, which is I have been in conversations with teachers about issues. I've been with parents about conversations with issues. I've been with students because they go through our foundation. We've been talking to them about mental health. We've been talking to them about the quality of education they get in their school, the diversity they need in terms of technology. So I think that it's all about compromising, but it's also about making sure that our kids are first. And that's part of the strategic plan of our school district. It's kids first. Kids are the center of our conversations. Let's leave aside all this, and I'm sorry my language, all this BS that we put as adults. Let's let the teachers teach. Let's let the students go through the system and get the best education we could give them possible.
Okay, and we want to bring our viewers into this conversation. I see that Ms. Long is there, and she says Raymond has his head on straight. I see that we're joined now by Ms. Yvette DeVos, who is a candidate herself for another position. So, the audience, we're asking you to provide us with some questions. I mean, we know everything, but we don't know everything. So if y'all will, John, give us some questions. Okay. Perry, you on that?
Yeah. No. John and Raymond, this is for both of you all. Coming out of COVID, both of you all had different experiences. Raymond, you as a student,
Mm.
trying to make sure that you get all of your credits uh, to graduate. John, you as a parent of an elementary age child. Coming out of that, what are some of the things that you really think the district should prepare for going forward with new, I won't say a new teaching model, but a new model that supports teachers, students, and parents holistically? What are some of your thoughts around that, and how the district can address some of these issues now?
Sure. So let's preface this in saying this much. I think there was loads to be learned in COVID, and like you said, John and I had different experiences, and my mom was always very quick to get me out of the house. She's a teacher herself, and she's a firm believer in going to school. So much so that she decided that I should start school in the summer instead of the fall. So I'll be going to school on the 24th of June, not the 24th of August. But that's okay. And so I was really on the front lines of the COVID pandemic and going to school. What are some things that we can adapt, and what are some things that we can change? I think is a great question, and it's challenging. And the truth of the matter is the answers will vary depending on who you talk to. If you talk to teachers, they would have wished the district would have equipped them better in an effort to actually know how to teach and engage students online. If you talk to parents, they would have wished to have some type of training on technology to get their elementary school students online, learning and being engaged. If you talk to high school level students, that engagement piece was such a large chunk of the entire thing. There were so many students that came to me, and I started my position as student advisor kind of towards the end. We were kind of phasing out masks. The vaccines are coming available. So we're talking about May 2021. And so those students would tell me, I'm not learning anything. Classes are so boring. There's nothing hands-on for me. And then on top of all that, I think the student experience was so awkward because, even though it was 6 feet from each other, even the kids that were at school still lacked social interaction. And so I think that what we have to do better going forward is have a system in place where everybody can go, all right, this is happening again. We need to be able to adapt. Here are our SOPs. So I was in ROTC. An SOP means standardized operating procedure. If you go into the hospital and they have all these codes, you might hear code green or code yellow or code orange, and the nurses automatically know what to do because it's a part of their training. In the like fashion, Broward County has to adopt a system in which everybody is aware of that SOP, those procedures, and know what to do to where it does not break down the entire system or the way in which we operate as a school district.
Yeah, I will, and I think from Raymond's perspective as a student, we also overlap with what parents were listening. And again, I mentioned I jumped into this race to become a school board member because of the experience I had in the past, but also because of the experience I had during COVID. And what I could tell you is that what happened during COVID in our school district was a disgrace. We put our teachers in the front lines with no protection, with no procedures, with no communication, with no training since the beginning of the pandemic. After we went back into the classroom, we disregard people with medical conditions. I was there in front of the school board building as a parent, demanding that the school district and the superintendent were listening to hundreds of teachers that had pre-existing conditions and couldn't be in the classroom. So there was a big issue. And if you ask me, Perry, what was the things that I saw during COVID, it was a lack of transparency, point blank. There was no communication. There was mixed communication. There was no plan. There was one thing, parents were listening. I was getting emails from my principal saying, oh, your son is not going to be in the 6 feet apart distance anymore. We cannot hold it. What do you mean we cannot hold it? We're in the middle of the pandemic. Then there was like, oh, we're gonna have an issue with, the ACs at the school, tracking the number of individuals that were getting, COVID. The dashboard was a mess. There was never really information that was clear. So what we need to fix, adding to what Raymond mentioned in terms of getting to know what the system looks like, it's making sure that we have a clear and transparent conversation with our community, because we don't have that. Everyone has a different opinion. We have to make sure that our communications department, not with dumping hundreds of thousands of dollars into it, hiring people who know about school districts. The last two people who were there didn't know about the school districts. They were PR individuals. They were reactive people. We need people who go into the community, who could communicate to the community, who could connect with the parents. So there is a lot of work. What I learned through COVID, Perry, was that we need to make, as a forefront for the entire school board, communication needs to be transparent, that we have to make sure that we just don't do a video telling people what to do, but we make it dynamic, that we go into the groups, we go into the community groups, the Cubanis, we go into the different cultural groups, and we inform the community about how the school board is run. And with this, I finish. The majority of people, and this is what all this craziness happened during COVID, people don't understand how the school board works. They just think it's a principal and the assistant principal and their teacher. They don't really know how to advocate for their school administrators, but also for the school board administrators. So education, and transparency and communication.
And I just want to add real briefly here. I think
Raymond, never been brief. You've never been brief.
I think
for
that
the first time, Raymond.
I think that through the pandemic, it also further exacerbated a problem that we were already having pre-pandemic, and that was teacher retention. And speaking as a student in the 11th grade during that time, I lost several teachers that year because of the decision in January to disregard the ADA accommodations that teachers had to bring them back into the classroom in a forceful fashion. And if they did not report to their work sites in 2 weeks, no matter the fears, they were automatically excused from their jobs. And that includes substitutes as well. And so now this year, we've had this huge problem with getting new teachers, having subs.
So that the school board had to put up a $50.1 million contract with a private contractor to hire, recruit, train, and pay substitutes.
Okay. Check this out. Now, okay. We're family here. We are working together to get the best we can for our students. And Perry, before I go, you were about to say something. I'll come back.
Well, yeah, we had started that, and to answer the converse side of that is a lot has changed with families after COVID. And so what are some of the good things that maybe you notice that maybe we need to implement, not just on the issue of, well, here's what we do when we encounter a COVID-like position, but maybe this should be something going forward. I mean, we have a lot of parents now who are working remotely, still full-time. We have parents now that are doing some different things. But what about school in the evening? What about some of those things to reimagine education?
Yeah,
I would just get back to what we call getting back to normal.
Right. I will tell you three things, Perry. Great question. Three things really brief, because I know we have another guest that you guys want to bring up, and she's amazing too. So want to make sure we have time for that. But three things really quick. One, we miss a big opportunity to reimagine education. And then we push back into the technology spectrum that we had now incorporated during COVID. So we have to start thinking how we could become more innovative, not just in our technology that we give to our kids when they get education, but in the way that we build our classrooms. We have to reimagine how to build our classrooms. It cannot be the same whiteboard with 20 desks in front of them. It has to be different. That is the first one. The second one has to be with really understanding that this opportunity during COVID was about appreciating the work that our teachers put during COVID. And appreciated is just making sure that we don't have a 1% raise. That is ridiculous. Texas Unified School System just raised 11% the salary of their teachers. 11%. Let me be clear. We raised 1% and we were happy with it. That is not acceptable. As a school board member, I will push to make sure that we have a substantial increase that goes with inflation, because look the gas prices, look the rents. That's another conversation. The last thing I would say, the conversation about COVID, the positive conversation we had about COVID was meeting Raymond, was meeting John, was meeting people who were there listening, and now they activate. We activated after COVID, and Raymond has been activated for a long time. I feel that many parents that I know, many advocates that I know, after COVID really understood the importance of having a better school system here in Broward.
Very, very good. Let's do this. I want our viewing audience to look at this picture. But before I do that, Mrs. DeBose, you know, you're vying for a position. Now, I know you got some questions that you want some answers to. So come on, supply those answers. But let's bring on. I just want people to see this picture, you know, and then we're gonna move on from there and allow John and Raymond to give us their. And I know this is hard for Raymond to close out in 1 minute. But let's bring on Miss Nicholas, and because I want people to see this picture. Okay, here we go. Look at this. Okay, look at this picture now. Miss Nicholas, where are you from?
Good evening, everyone. And Bobby, Perry, what an honor it is for me to be here with you guys. Listening to this conversation is amazing. I really commend both Raymond and John. I really enjoyed this conversation, and it's a dialogue that must be had.
Okay. Now, you see this picture. Okay. Miss Nicholas, Mr. Adderly, Mr. Moreno-Escobar. Look at this picture, y'all. This is what America is. This is us here. Now, I really, and I'm saying that for a reason. We might as well get ready to embrace what is before us, you know, and that's the truth. So, Guithele, don't go anywhere. Stay right there. We're going to allow John and Raymond to give us their closeout, and then we're going to bring you on, Ms. Guithele. So let's start with, we're going to go with wisdom first. John, you give us your closeout, and we're going to come on and bring the baby boy on last.
Hey, the message is clear. You know, I have been involved in the community. I'm running. My name is John Moreno-Escobar. I'm running for a school district number 6 here in Broward County. That is Weston, Plantation, Sunrise, Cooper City, and Davie. And I want you to remember this. When you look into the other candidates, we are fine people. Look into who was there when this district needed the most. Look at who has the experience working on education, but also who has the business acumen to run for office for this specific more than $4 billion budget. I want to make sure that our school district has transparency, that we stop the corruption that is happening in the school district, and that we make a better place for work here in Broward County to all our teachers, parents, and students. Thank you for the opportunity to all of you that are watching tonight, and I look for your support for District 6 School Board. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Mr. Adderly.
All right, 10 minutes. Here we go. Anyway, once again, my name is Raymond Adderly, and I'm running for Broward County School Board Seat 8, countywide. So no matter where you live in Broward County, you can vote for me. So that doesn't matter if you live in Miramar or Parkland, Plantation, or Davie, I am your candidate. And here's why. When I was 6 years old, I watched my father be murdered in front of me in my own home. Oh, no. And in an effort for my mom to keep me quiet, she reached over on my balcony door and covered my mouth. I know what it meant to be voiceless in that moment as a 6-year-old. And I know what it means to so many people around Broward County not to have a say-so. I am your champion. I am your voice. I'm your greatest advocate, but I need your help to do that. So I encourage you to go to RaymondTakesNotes.com tonight and go volunteer for my campaign, sign up for our newsletter, donate, chip in whatever you can, because together we will be making history here in Broward County together. Not me alone, but each and every one of us. So thank you, as always, Mr. Bobby. It's always a great conversation. You and Mr. Bubsy sure do know how to put on a good show. And I look forward to being back sometime soon, and hopefully as a school board member. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do me a favor, Miss Henry, can you put the three of them together? Because I want folks to look at this picture. Can you arrange the screen?
Here you go. Beautiful picture.
Yeah.
Can you there we go. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, you know, and to you, Raymond, and you, John, we certainly appreciate it, man. Thank you so very much. And
Thank you.
We will do this. Perry, you do a good job at this. I chew things up, but I am definitely okay. So, Patricia Jones says John F. Moreno-Escobar, and she claps. She's clapping. So that's good. Thank you. And please, listeners, viewers, send us your information so we can talk. Put it out there. We want our guests to know that people are listening to them. And this show is not a pay-per-view. You can always go back and pull it up and get what you missed. Okay, Sandra Torres, John, you're amazing human. You know, so people are watching and listening, man. We appreciate that. Okay, so are we good? All right, John and Raymond, thank you guys very much, and we'll be back. Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you anytime.
All right. Now, Miss Ruiz, how are you?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you for having me. And I truly enjoyed the conversation that took place between Raymond and John.
Okay, Guithele, tell us a little bit about you. Let's tell us something about you. Who are you? Where you come from? Who's your people, as we say in the South?
All right. My type of question. To everyone, my name is Guithele Ruiz-Nicolas, and I am running for Broward County Commission District 9. I was originally born in Haiti and came to the United States at 11 years old and landed in Brooklyn, New York. So most of my school, middle school and high school and college were in New York. And I moved here in Broward County in 1986. So I've been here a very long time. And I have to tell you what a culture shock it was. From New York to South Florida, I never experienced the South. And it was a waking call for me. Simply because, as you know, New York is known for being a melting pot. I felt welcomed. I felt embraced and really guided by all kinds of people, not only African Americans, Caucasian, Hispanic. So I had a very good support of people from different parts of the world. And coming down here in Florida, I saw there were very many silos of different segments of the community. And luckily, my very first job was with the Urban League of Broward County. And I began to really realize, Guithele, there's a place for you in Broward County to make a difference. So moving forward, started my career in public service. So I have 25 years of experience organizing, mobilizing, and really getting different groups to work together. You know, we've talked about diversity. You know, John and Raymond, they basically indicated how important it was. But I have to tell you, I was in Broward County when things were happening. If you recall, in the 80s, the school board, the county, hospital district, there were a lot of funding coming in, and we had to set aside dollars for business opportunities. We had to diversify the workforce. And I am very proud to have been a part of that. When you look at Port Everglades Authority, the amount of dollars they had, I was the equal opportunity officer, not only responsible for handling complaints from employees, but also ensuring that the dollars that we were spending, enough were going to minority and women-owned companies. Go to the city of Hollywood, I instituted similar program as the human relations director, not only working and diversifying the workforce, but also instituted the city of Hollywood's very first small disadvantaged business enterprise program. And until this day, the program is there. But one of the things I really enjoyed in Hollywood, being the human relations director, we really had to work with the community. You had some, Liberia, for example, was predominantly African American, and there were some other pockets of Hollywood Hispanic. So my role as the human relations director was really to get all of the communities to work together.
Mhm.
So that was an exciting time. And then moving forward, one of my last positions was at Broward County. And with that, I learned the in and outs of not only the policy making body, but also administratively what it took to govern a county. And with your wife, Bobby, she
Mhm.
did an amazing job, and a long-term administrator. There were many good things that happened. So I want to be that voice. I want to be the voice, and I want my constituents in District 9 to know they can depend on me. I will be there. I will listen. And it's one of the most diverse districts. When you look at demographically, we are 51% African American, consisting of not only American born here, but also people from the Caribbean, 24% Caucasian, 21% Hispanic. So we have a community where the Black and Brown communities really is predominantly the majority of that district. And with that, as you know, the needs are there. And this is why I am so excited about this brand new seat that came out of redistricting. That brand new seat puts me in a position where I have been getting ready for most of my career life and most of my community service life as well, because I've served on many, many boards, including, Hispanic Unity, the Red Cross, 211, many organizations that are the heart of Broward County. So it's an exciting time. I'm excited about the possibilities. And public service is my passion, so I can't wait to make a difference.
Mhm. Guithele, I'm sorry, Miss Guithele
Yeah, no,
Ruiz-Nicolas.
no,
I know,
please,
I know, I know,
please.
I know,
Yeah,
I know.
it's
I'm
all
just
detail.
trying to be politically correct. You,
No,
you, you've been in the trenches. Okay? You've seen the changes. What is one thing that is just banging at you to make a change at? What is that one thing it's in your craw that you have been beckoning to change? What is that?
I'll tell you, I completed Leadership Forward back in 1998. And one of the needs that I saw was public transportation. Coming from urban areas like New York, Chicago, public transportation is the way to go. So what I've seen our streets in the morning, really traffic, jams of traffic. So public transportation has always been an issue. I believe we have the resources now at Broward County, and we are poised to really provide public transportation in the district. With the infrastructure bill that's coming in, we will be getting trillions of dollars. So it is an opportunity for us where we can not only take care of the environment, but also allow people to take public transportation to get to work efficiently. So that's one thing. The second thing is more resources for the elderly, veterans, vulnerable population. The baby boomers by 2030 will be 6.5 million of us. Are the resources there? And if the resources are there, how do we expend them to really serve the number of people we are anticipating? When you look at people with Alzheimer's, you look at people who cannot function and do the daily activities because of illnesses or lack of mobility. Many of those individuals are home alone. Whereas you look at other states, they are able to get assistance not only for 2 or 3 hours a day, but until the loved one comes back home if they're working. So those two things I'm very passionate about. I have seen where it worked in New York City, and it would be such an honor for me to really make that impact here in Broward County.
Mm-hmm. Now there's a hot topic brewing.
Oh yes.
Yeah, you know. So I don't shoot.
Please,
Yeah.
please.
So what do you think the need is for a strong mayor here in Broward County, or if there's a need, or what is happening?
What a wonderful question, and I thank you for that. And I participated in the charter review when it was being reviewed several years ago, and that's a topic that came up. My background is being a public administrator. I have a master's in public administration from Nova. And Public Administration 101, you've got to keep administration separate from the political arm. Otherwise, people do get in trouble. So much become politicized. There are lots of lobbies. There are lots of special interest groups. How do you really maintain your administrative perspective separate from your political perspective? So if you were to ask me, I like it the way it is. I would not want a strong mayor government.
Okay. Somebody just said, I need Miss Nicholas' contact number. I want to work with her.
Oh,
Now,
come on, we need an
now this
army.
is grassroots. Now,
Yeah.
this is Perry, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, one of the biggest issues here in Broward is right now is not only is there a rising cost in home in living, but those costs are not in sync with the employment opportunities here. Broward has lost at least 5 major corporations in the last 8 years as Broward being their home base. I think now we have only Auto Nation and a few others. What is the county's, or what would you do to help the county become more attractive and not just seen as this destination spot?
I have to tell you that we come a long way as a county. We really come a long way. But here's what I am seeing. I am seeing a county that was affordable, a county where people saw a quality of life, and people now saying, I cannot afford it. You have people who are teachers who cannot afford to buy a home. So that housing crisis is really not keeping up with salaries. We still have people making $10.50 an hour or $12 an hour. The $15 hourly increase law that passed a couple of years back, it won't be in effect for all corporations into 2026. I am hoping before 2026, we have people making $15 an hour. And still then, they will not be able to afford Broward County. Here is what needs to be done. We're no longer expending east-west. We don't have the width to further expand, so we're going up. We're seeing high rises everywhere in the county. And you're looking at Sistrum, wonderful what they've done, but what about the people who were there? How much of those apartments are set aside for working people?
Mhm. Mhm.
When you look at Seattle, when you look at New York, yes, we have to develop. We need housing for our people, but here is what they do. A percentage of the housing that is being developed is set aside for working people. So there's got to be a way where we're not pushing the poor, we're not pushing those low income families away. I looked at a development on 31st Avenue in Oakland Park. The least expensive home is
Mm.
$540,000. To me, that is extremely sad. These are CNAs. These are people who work in hotels. How will they afford to buy those homes? But here is what's going to happen. What's going to happen? You're going to have newcomers from northern states buying cash. Other developments will happen, and we have to push those with the smaller homes away so we can continue to build larger homes. So we have to look at our demographics. My district, District 9, is not a very rich county. I want to be that voice. I want to be the one to say, look, my people, they have to be able to stay in their community. And we cannot let developers come and take their land or purchase their properties and so forth. So that's one of the ways of handling that crisis. I also feel that, obviously we have Commissioner Nanrich, who is such a champion of affordable housing. And sometimes the Sadowski Fund, the funds that are to come to us at the county, they
Mhm.
don't come to us. So we have to have great lobbyists. We have to have great House representatives and senators. And if we take control of the Senate, a lot of these things will be happening. So I tell people, your vote is your voice. And until you can use that voice to improve your life, it's not going to happen.
Mm. Wow.
Exactly.
Okay. You mentioned this on the housing situation. I was speaking to a couple of church members who are really, really going through it. Now I thought Broward County had put in position and put in play something to help those who. Okay, can you explain a little bit to that, and how can you, once elected, better that if you can?
I have to tell you, the county did set aside for rental assistance. It's a huge step. Nevertheless, because of the number of people who were impacted by the pandemic or impacted by the crisis, the funds were not being dispersed fast enough. I think we've gotten control of that. We have to keep such programs in place because it should not be just during the pandemic. Because again, our county has become so, it's no longer affordable. And here is what's happening as well. You have the cost of insurance. The cost of insurance is truly impacting the affordability of housing for our people. So again, all of these issues compressed together makes it very hard. So here is what I will do. I will continue to really advocate for those who have less. I will advocate for those who do need the assistance when they don't have. So their needs are very important because I've been there. I've experienced life. And it's so important for you to understand what it is like. I was a single mom for several years, and I had to make do and make things happen. So this is what our families are going through right now. So I certainly am very compassionate towards that particular issue and how it affects the community. And I will fight with everything I have to
Okay.
ensure that we keep our county affordable.
Okay. Good, Teal. Could you put your contact information in the chat box? Also, from is this Daniela Pierre? Daniela asked the question. She makes a statement. Climate change is also important, an important factor everywhere. Climate change is also an important factor for South Florida. How do we push for more policies driven resiliency and protect the land in Black and brown communities from gentrification?
Great.
Before you answer
Great.
that question, before you jump on that, what comes to my mind is, okay, right down the street on 6th Street, just past James C. Boyd's funeral home, there's a park there. There's an African American Research Library, and there's Delaware Park. However, they sit right on the bank of the New River. I mean, that is a quiet, what's the word when you call it? Whatever, birds and fish and waterfowl and ducks right in Broward County. So back to Ms. Pierre's question. How do you do that? To keep gentrification coming in.
I tell you, our environment is really, we have to pay more attention to it. So when you have those little alcoves, and these are treasures in our community, we cannot neglect them. We've got to put the resources to retain them. And as the development is taking place, that also becomes part of that destination. What's happening in Sistrum, if we take care of this area, we plant more trees, we make it a little more, how would you say this, more attractive. I think we have got to ensure they're preserved. Now, other environmentally friendly type of initiative, I do serve on the City of Plantation Sustainability and Resiliency Board. We have to start little by little. You heard me mention that with the proper transportation system, it is going to help the environment. There is a level of education that is needed. I have to tell you, I was one of those who felt that environmental issues really touch those who lived by the beach or the Everglades. The African American community is more at risk by the environment than most ethnic groups. You look at our people walking to the bus, how many canopy trees do you see along Sistrunk Boulevard to really shade them? That's a big issue because in the sun, if they have hypertension, if they have diabetes, it becomes a risk factor for their health. So we have to look at the Black and brown community. First of all, make sure that the proper shading is available as people are walking. So that's that is a low hanging fruit that can be done. The other thing is education. As I mentioned, I never thought environment really impacted our communities, but it does. We have to begin to educate our community in terms of how does the environment impact you? It could be what you use at home. It could be plastic straws. It could be plastic bottles. It could be the shades of the trees to ensure when people are walking, they are a little safer. So there are ways we can do it gradually. But the Black community, I would start with education and not having people come to us at the county to learn it, but taking the education into the community and in their homes, in the schools, in the daycare, so that it becomes a collaborative effort, not only between the residents, but with the government as well. The county does have a very, very, very good plan and an advisory board that works on these issues. The more people know about this plan, the better it will be.
Perry?
Connect with you. I've had three.
Why you smiling, man?
No, I was just listening. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I got distracted.
Me too. I was spellbound. Guithele, you wrote an article, and we're going to publish it. Your opinion on
Thank
on
you.
on what's transpired. Could you educate us this on the complexities, if you will, of a system that is supposed to protect us?
Mhm.
Could you elaborate a little bit on that, please?
Sure, my pleasure. And it is a problem that affects all of us. When you look at 911, 911 workers are very first responders. Currently, we are faced with a huge um, rate of, I mean, so many people left. They're not doing that, they don't want to be there. And there are more than 80 or 90 vacancies at the Broward Sheriff's Office. And those are individuals, well, the 911, I don't want to say dispatchers, I call them emergency workers. And I think this problem, it's not just about money. A few weeks ago, the county allocated, I think I want to say $4 million, and not only for the equipment, but also to increase the salaries of the 911 workers. That is part of the solution, but it is not the root of the cause. Being that I've been in human resources for a very long time, when you are recruiting people, first of all, you have to ensure the job description fits the job. When I looked at the job description of emergency workers, it says a high school diploma. That's it. That's all that's needed. Imagine being on the phone with a 911 worker who really may not have been exposed to behavioral health, may not have been exposed to crisis and all. So one of the things I feel is that this particular position is misclassified. A lot of sheriff's department or other law enforcement department, they look at this job as a clerical, before they used to call them telephone operators, suggesting that it is a clerical position, and it is predominantly occupied by women. So but that's not the way this position should be classified. When you look at all first responder positions, firefighters, they have to go through the academy. It takes months for them to learn and become competent in what they will face as a first responder. Police officers, they too have to go through an academy and get certified. I look at the 911 workers, they too must go through a training and become certified, where there is a curriculum that addresses every aspect of the job. I think once that's done and once the proper salary is provided, we will begin to see people staying on the job. The retention rate will be so much higher. So people are leaving. It's a lot of stress. They're leaving because they don't know if they're going to be able to save lives. Imagine when you feel somebody's life is in your hand and you don't know what to do. So if one were to propose to me how to resolve it, I would certainly develop a partnership with local colleges or and say, okay, just as you have a curriculum for firefighters to become certified and police officers to become certified, I need for these first responders to also be certified. Certified, they become competent. They have the confidence that they can do their job and they're getting paid well. So that's my take on the issue. The money alone is not going to do it if the people are not well trained, if the job requirements do not reflect the level of responsibility. So we have to look at the problem from a holistic point of view. Throwing money at it is not everything, because money is not everything for everybody. I hope that that has pretty much kind of captured some of the information you.
Yes, I remember there was a decree from the city of Fort Lauderdale police and fire department. I don't know if Broward County had one, but there was a mandate, if you will, to get more people of color involved in this entire process. So you're right. I mean, it's more than just. Uh-oh, I'm doing something wrong. It's more than just a position, if you will. It is a need and a necessity. Is that me? I'm going. Uh-oh. Was that me?
No, I think Guithele.
Mm-hmm.
I think we lost her. Not sure what happened.
Okay, but I was talking about the from the there we go. I was talking about
sorry, yeah.
That's okay. And I don't think that has been met yet in terms of an equal representation of minorities in general, Black folk in particular. I'm gonna push that. So maybe this is an avenue where we can get the diversity that this county represents and involved in a process that's needed. Like you said, money is not everything to everybody. Having the access and the ability, I think it outweighs that. But that's that. There was some. One of our viewers said, and it was Mr. Hope. His concerns was with the new YMCA on the corridor. How can, and I think you can pull it up. Ari, can you pull that up? His question: how can? Here we go. Bobby is asking Ms. Nichols, how would she address the concerns of the communities, the YMCA, that charge a fee of $100 to $150 a month for minority youth to pay to attend their summer programs? In this area where jobs and monies are tight, and I think Mr. Hope is asking if there's a way for county commissioners or those to intervene with an agency that has received millions of dollars, not necessarily from the county but from the city. Is there a way to get a balancing act, if you will?
At the state level, there's a lot of cuts. When you look at the Jack and Jill, which has been an institution and foundation for our community, over $650,000 been cut. And we're seeing that at every areas in the county, nonprofit organizations, funding that were available are no longer available. So it's a balancing act. I don't think the county can take on the full cost. However, if grants were obtained to at least subsidize it for those who cannot afford it. For some parents, $150 for the summer, it may be palatable. And those who cannot, let's say I'm working or I'm looking for work, I'm not working, or if I'm working at McDonald's, I want my child to be in a supervised environment during the summer. If I can't afford it, where do I get the assistance? Almost like scholarships. We look at the need, we look at the income level, and we basically, if they qualify for the scholarship, if they qualify for the subsidy, it benefits our community. It benefits our community. And I had many years ago done a program. I developed a program called Building the Community from the Inside Out. The premise of the program is we will never fulfill our needs. The needs are so great. What needs to happen, we have to begin to pull the assets in the community, the churches, the school board, private enterprise. If that is an issue, let's bring everybody together to see how we're going to solve that problem for those families who are unable to pay for it. But I see it's a beautiful YMCA. There's going to be a lot of partners there. For example, Broward College will have representatives there. So there are lots of possibility and opportunities, but people are suffering, and those needs will not be met until we can really look at our community and the assets or the institutions that solve the community's problems.
Okay. There was another viewer. She made a statement. She said we don't have enough of 911 emergency workers. They are burned out.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, back to you. That's to your concern.
That's my major concern, and they're gonna quit as long as they are not prepared and they don't feel confident to do the job.
Okay. Okay. Let's begin to wrap this up. Guithele, you've been in the struggle, and I know from a personal standpoint how you have assisted Black businesses. I know. Broward County has its Office of Small Business and Development. Okay, that's there. Do you have any from your platform? Is there anything missing from what Mr. McDonald is doing? And he's doing one hell of a job. Is there anything missing that you can add to that from your expertise in what you have done here in Broward County?
Thank you for that question, Bobby. I think Mr. McDonald is doing a phenomenal job.
Yes.
The difference, here is the difference. When Norm Taylor was there, when I was there, LD Gainey, many of us old timers, minority businesses were attacked. That's when race and gender conscious programs disappeared. In order to keep that intention in place and ensure the dollars go to minority and women, we had to do a disparity study. I think it's time for Broward County to do a disparity study. And what the disparity study does, it looks at all of the contracts that were, that were bidded out or given to contractors. How many minorities truly benefit? What is the percentage? Right now, the county has a 20% goal of CBEs, or they're using a different acronyms because we don't want to use the race and gender terminology. We don't want to use minority business development because we don't have a disparity study. So in order to really elevate the wonderful job that is being done, I would like to be intentional before those infrastructure dollars trickles into Broward County so that we know a certain percentage has to go to Black-owned businesses, Hispanic-owned businesses, as opposed to this neutral SBE, CBE sheltered market. Because the thing is, you may have CBEs, but they get the contracts all the time. They have the resources. So I would like to see a disparity study being done so that we're aggressively putting money in the pocket of our minority businesses.
Okay, Perry. Let's I know you got an earful.
Yes, I did. A wealth of knowledge. No, a wealth of knowledge. No, it's great to have that, because Bobby and I were speaking earlier. It's one of the things to have someone who you think has the right fortitude for the job, but sometimes we need someone with the right aptitude for the job. And a lot of times we lose out because we don't know all that's required, and we don't know, and it helps to have someone who's been there before. And I know that that's always a touchy subject. Everyone hates establishment, but you do have to get established. with Broward being in such a having such a thin line with Tallahassee, which is very different than in times past. How do you propose working with this new dynamic? Because it seems as though whenever Tallahassee wants to send a message, they want to spank Broward to let everybody know. But we know that. So how, what are some of the ways in which I know you talk about going after some grant dollars that sometimes can help go around the state, but just in terms of what we need to do in terms of our communities to help generate some of that organically and how we work together.
Unfortunately, election has consequences. Yeah. It really depends who's there. We have got to get someone in Tallahassee who is a champion of inclusion, who's not a dictator and not going to retaliate against a county that needs to serve its people. So here is what I would say. I think every community should really ask the candidates that are running that are running for governor. There has to be, as a community, have we developed a common agenda that's going to benefit the whole community? Do we have that? Have leaders decided, okay, these are the issues in our community impacting the Black community? What is it that we need? And what will be the ask to the candidates who are running? We are going to champion the person that can meet our needs. So a lot of, they said, we carry the vote in Broward County. Black women carry the vote in Broward County. And I think we do it because obviously there's a level of, we want our communities to be healthy, but we have to put the right person in that seat. This is the time. The community needs to get together, get some church pastors, get some educators, just a core group of people. What is it we need from the next governor? We're going to work hard to make sure we get this one out of the way. But the person we're going to bring in, let's make sure he knows what our needs, he or she knows what our needs are. Those are our asks. And if they can be delivered, we are going to rally behind you.
Okay. Very good. Okay, we're coming to the end of the show. So Miss Guithele Ruiz-Nicolas, say, tell us. Yes. Tell us, if you could, what is a reason that we should vote for you?
That is a perfect question. That's the kind of question I like. I am running for Broward County Commissioner because I am not a career politician. I have done the work and know that everything on my platform, whether business opportunity, whether transportation, whether health for the elderly and veterans, whether education and job for the future, those areas are really where I've made an impact as a professional, as a public servant. I will be the voice for my people and I will be accessible. It's not I get there and I am needed, I am not around. I am running a grassroots campaign. A grassroots because I believe governance requires citizens to be involved. There are a number of things that we need to do and we cannot do it alone. I cannot do it alone. When I become county commissioners, it will be important for me to see how to get the community involved. So with that, I say District 9 really needs me. I've spent all of my professional life getting ready to lead District 9. And you can't go wrong with me. You will not go wrong. And I will be honored to have your vote on the 23rd of August.
Very good. Ms. Ruiz, put your information in the chat box so those who are watching can follow you and help you along the way. Perry, before you say your words, Ariel, do we have any flyers or any information to put up? I know I wanted to say something about the upcoming library, Broward County's library, and their Juneteenth celebration, but we're gonna have that conversation next week with some national folks concerning Juneteenth. And Perry, you and I talked about not doing a shameless plug, but to let folks know just how important it is to support our black press. 190, was that your child? 195 years worth. So Guithele, did you put your information up?
I put my website, www.voteguithele.com. I am also looking for volunteers and any type of resources I would greatly appreciate. And I guarantee with me, it will not be the wrong choice.
Okay. All right. Now, I hope my friend, Shelley Timothy Paul is listening. I hope, so we can get to the communities and get the information out. Okay, event flyers will be ready for the next episode. Okay, very good. All right, Perry, anything from you?
Well, Guithele, thank you so much for enlightening us on the history and what has taken place. A lot of times we see so much of what's going wrong or what is wrong that we don't realize that something was there that was working, and so we have something to work with, and we have great people such as yourself who are willing to stand in the gap, and so appreciate you for coming on and getting to know our audience and letting our audience know you. And I know we've got a strong fight ahead. We got a new district coming up, which is going to take a lot of learning for people to know about this new district, and just wish you and all the candidates the best in your endeavors.
Thank you so much, Perry. I really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, great job. Good. Ms. Remy, thank you very much. Okay, to Miss Sally Tillman, put that comment up because I want folks to see this. Hey, Sally, put up there. Okay, when you going to have Gloria Lewis on? Okay, Sally, go back and tell Gloria whenever she's ready, let us know. We want everybody to come on. So, but in all sincerity, Miss Guithele Ruiz-Nicolas, thank you so very much. And to our previous guest, John Moreno-Escobar, and our young up-and-coming Barack, no, that wasn't Barack, that was Raymond Adderly, so we got some up-and-coming people that are really ready to do something. I believe that diversity is the key. However, that diversity has to include me. If we talk one way and not represent the other, then what we're doing is no good. So let us all get on this train or this bus and get off the bus of ignorance. Don't get on the bus of DeSantis. Don't get on the bus of Marco Rubio. Don't get on the bus of a Donald Trump. Let's get on the bus of diversity that includes us, for us, by us. And we can do something to make a difference. Even if you don't vote, now it's time for you to consider voting. Now, I don't own rights to this music. However, I am going to play it. Now, yeah, this is wrong.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Perry.
Thank you. Thank you.